Welcome to my channel. Today I will be reading from the Just No Mail subreddit. So let's jump into it. Our HOA Karen lost it when I put up Christmas lights. Just a little backstory. We moved into our home in July and our neighborhood is still under construction. So it looks like a war zone. As you can imagine, there are no sidewalks and all of the lots are pretty much just dirt at this point. Our street has also only had blacktop for about 2 months now. Well, we're one of the only houses with grass at this point. The neighbors next to us have been eyeing our grass since they moved in last December, and we finally got around to putting up our Christmas lights. That was until today. On Saturday, we put up our Christmas lights, and it was beautiful. All of the kids in the neighborhood came over to see them, and it was great. Sunday morning, we get a visit from the HOA president, who happens to be our neighbor. He tells us that he's not comfortable with us having Christmas lights because we're setting a bad example by not following the rules. At first, I thought that he was joking, but then he told us that we need to take them down immediately or else we'd be fined $500. I asked him where in the rules it stated that Christmas lights were illegal, and he said that he didn't know, but it's just something that we don't do in the neighborhood. I told him that I understand his concern, but that this is my house and I'll put up whatever decorations that I want. He tells me that he wants to be reasonable, but he doesn't want to start an ugly fight. And I tell him that if he gives me any more crap about this, I'm going to complain about him to the board, about him harassing us and violating our privacy, because he snuck onto our property without our permission. This shuts him up, and he leaves. Now, this is where things get funny. Our HOA president, aka Karen, sends us this letter which states that we are in violation of the CC&Rs. By displaying Christmas lights, they could fine us $500. It also states that we have 5 days to comply. Well, as per his request, I sent a letter back to the HOA stating that the request for removal of the Christmas lights is denied. I went on to state that if the HOA wants to fine me, then go ahead. But I would also be complaining to the board about the harassment that we've received from the HOA president. I finished it off by stating that I hope the board is as unreasonable as their president. Karen called me at work a few times, but I didn't answer. About 2 hours later, I get a call from the HOA treasurer. He tells me that the president was reprimanded by the board for violating our privacy and sneaking onto our property without our permission. He also stated that the president apologized to him personally for his behavior. What an idiot! You don't apologize for doing the right thing. Well, I guess Karen wasn't done, because 2 hours after that, I get a call from Karen's wife. She tells me that she wanted to apologize for her husband's behavior and that he was out of line. Then she tried to guilt-trip me by saying, "I know that you're a Christian and you're supposed to turn the other cheek." Then she tried to justify her husband's actions by saying that he was looking out for the neighborhood. She went on to say that he's trying to build property values and increase the quality of life. She then said that the Christmas lights are an eyesore, and that's why he wanted us to take them down. I told her that I appreciate the apology, but I don't appreciate the fact that she recorded the conversation without my knowledge. She tried to deny it and play dumb, but I told her that I knew that she was recording and that it was illegal. She hung up on me. Yesterday morning, I get a visit from Karen. He tells me that he wants to apologize in person. I told him that I appreciated the apology, but I'm not going to tolerate him sneaking onto my property or harassing me or my family again. He apologizes and says that it will never happen again. He then tells me that he's going to vote to remove the Christmas lights clause from the CC&Rs. He said that he knows he's in trouble with the board and that he needs me to be on his good side. I told him that an apology means nothing if it's not sincere. He insists that it's sincere and that he just wants to move forward with a clean slate. Today, I get an email from the HOA treasurer. He tells me that Karen was removed from the board, and as of today, he is no longer president. Apparently Karen has a history of this type of behavior, and the board had enough. He also stated that the HOA will not be pursuing any fines against us, and that we're free to decorate however we want. And that is where I stand with Karen. We haven't seen him since. He must be hiding. Well, OP, it seems like your HOA Karen was actually a real Karen. Most of the time, these stories are people going, "Oh, my neighbor was being a Karen," but it seems like this guy really was a Karen. I love the response that you gave back to the HOA president. You shut him down hard, but then I also love the fact that apparently the HOA president's wife watches this channel because she hit you up and was like, "Hey, listen, my husband's a total a-hole and I'm so sorry he did this to you. He's a total moron. Don't listen to him." And I also love that she brought up the fact that you're Christian, like implying that Christians are supposed to just, like Jesus and turn the other cheek. Like, no, you come to my house and you try to bully me, I'm gonna fight back. And she also tried to play dumb when you're like, "Hey, are you recording this?" And she's like, What? I don't know what you're talking about." Classic Karen move. Classic Karen tactic. And then, he comes over and apologizes. And then he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to get voted off the HOA board, so you better be on my good side." And you're just like, "Listen, dude, an apology isn't an apology if it's not sincere." I love that you stood your ground. These people, they can be so easily manipulated because they're so self-absorbed and they think that everybody cares about them as much as they care about themselves. So when you're like, "Listen, I'm not buying your apology," that really gets under their skin because they expect you to just brush it off and be like, "Oh, it's okay." No, because if it was truly a sincere apology, you wouldn't have to ask for it twice. If you're asking for an apology a second time, it's not sincere. But anyways, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.